live, I changed my internet by accident. So I was like, oh no.
It worked well. We are live. Hi, everyone. I'm Whitney Wiley, and with me today is Steve Samblis. He's the creator of the One Habit series and the author of the first chapter in the One Habit for Success, the Smart Femme edition. Steve, thank you for joining me. Welcome.
Well, first of all, this was a really cool idea you had. For you guys that don't know, Whitney had this cool idea. She's like, there's 30 of us in the book, the Smart Femme book. Let's do each person on the day of their habit. I was number one, Leah's number two. And I just thought that was a brilliant idea. And what I really love about you is the fact that we only started talking about this like 5 days ago.
Yeah.
And you know how some people are that they just, they just need to really roll into things. We don't do that. You're like me. We have an idea and we just make it happen. And
I am embracing that spirit to just roll with what I'm feeling, right? If I come up with an idea, let's just take action, because if I stop and think about it too long, it won't happen.
That's right. Absolutely.
So thank you. I appreciate your willingness to give this a shot, and we'll see where it goes. I'm hopeful. I've got about a half dozen of the authors already scheduled for their dates. So I think as we continue to move through this and the word gets out, we'll be able to get everyone scheduled. And if we don't get them scheduled for their particular day, we'll just record it and play it another day. We'll make it happen.
Cool. So it'll be on the One Habit page. It'll be on the One Habit group. And once again, I just think it's a really cool idea.
Oh, thank you.
Did fantastic.
Okay. So let's talk about your habit and your unhabit. And what I'm most interested in is explain a little bit about your habit and your one habit. But I'm most interested in knowing how you actually apply it in your life.
Yeah, this was actually a really interesting one. See, this whole thing with habits started with me, first of all, when I was a young stockbroker trying to find my way and realizing that there's a pretty good chance that the things that set us aside from the other people that were hugely successful in our eyes were not just they were educated and they were smart, and you can get to a certain level. But there's a point where motivation gets you out of the blocks, it gets you going. But it's your habits that are really the things that when you're about to fall, you put another leg forward and another. And the habits are the things that keep you going. So this particular habit of mine is basically, it's very simple. It's just to prepare for tomorrow's success today. And I learned this from a guy named Al Glover, who's a very successful stockbroker, a Dean Witter of the firm I was with. And Al was one of the people that I first started emulating his habits in the wrong way first. When he would go to lunch, I would go to lunch. When he would come into work, I'd come into work. When he'd go home, I'd see him on the phone, I would pick up the phone. And so that was just kind of like me being a monkey, just kind of parroting everything he was doing. But then I started talking to him. And he started teaching me the things that actually really mattered. And this was one of them. And this is actually a huge thing. And people miss out on this opportunity because it does two things. It's kind of a Zen meditation feeling to take a few moments before you finish your day and say, okay, this is what I'm going to plan for tomorrow.
Right.
So, because what happens is, and this does happen all the time, is if you don't do that, and most people, I would say 75%, 80% don't do that. If you don't do that, you toss and turn through the rest of your evening from the point that you stop to the point that, hold on a second, let's put my phone on vibrate here. Tom Hanks did that to me in an interview, by the way. It was great. I was in the middle of interviewing Tom Hanks and Holly Berry for Cloud Atlas, and all of a sudden I heard a phone ring. And I was like, oh my God, I left my phone on. And I looked and go, that's you. And Tom took his iPhone out and couldn't figure out how to turn the vibrate and turn the ringer off. So back to my story. I think that it removes a great deal of stress by taking a moment and just planning out what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Because you don't have that fear of the unknown anymore. And it's such a small, simple thing. And this is a habit that's a really easy one, because to make a habit happen, it has to be habitual. You have to do it every single day. Eventually becomes part of you. And there has to be a reward. And the reward is pretty cool because you literally go to bed at night going, okay, I'm cool till tomorrow. Or you cut off your day and you say, I'm cool till tomorrow. I'm going to stop working at 7 or whatever time you're going to stop, and you're cool. So that habit has served me so well. And the way you use it is real simple. You just basically take a moment, you look at your calendar, and you say, okay, here's what I got going on tomorrow. What I would even go as far as doing back in the day, and this is in the early 80s, is I would get, we had our clients on cards back then, not even in the computer. And I would get all the cards of the clients that I had to call the next morning and have them put them on my desk before I leave that night. And once again, it's a simple habit. And this is the beauty of the One Habit books. They're not to be read sequentially. The way you take a book, and this is our book that's just a new bestseller. Another one, The One Habit to Beat Cancer. You basically go into the book and you land on a habit, and you read it. And if that habit resonates with you, you then do the things to make that habit your own. The way you don't use this book or any of them is to start at the beginning and just read through it.
Right.
Because now you're just it's elevator music at that point. You take a moment, you pick something, you make it part of you, and once it is part of you, your life will enhance. There's no way it can't. Then you pick another one, basically.
That's a good habit right there in and of itself, right? Is just to it's something that you're instilling as a habit, work on that. When it is a part of you, then move on to the next thing. And I think a reason a lot of people fail in changing their habits is they're trying to do too much all at one time.
Oh yeah, just not being a little bit of organization. And you know what? I got to tell you something which is really cool. I almost think I'm doing these books and the ones we're doing because this is stuff that I need to learn.
Yeah.
I'm really feeling that. We're doing one. Regina is doing a book on for people that are chronically disorganized, and I won't say I'm that, but I'd like to be more organized.
Right.
And so all these, I'm actually it's giving me an opportunity to delve in and learn things to make myself better. So somebody comes to me with a habit, or you came to me with one, which was great. So whenever that happens, I kind of go, okay, great, it's something new I get to learn. Because on every book every single book we do, with the other editors, I read every single habit that comes in, and I put my spin on the edits as well. And so, we got 20 books coming with 1,500 people in them, almost contributors, and it's just been amazing.
Awesome.
And I've created these friendships with all you guys, who I'm so inspired by anyhow. So for me. By the way, I have no excuse to have a bad day because I get to talk to y'all every day. So if I sometimes have a bad day, there's just no excuse for it.
Cool. So before we wrap up, one of the things that I really like about what you've put together here is you have a habit, and then you have what you call an unhabit. Yes. Or a habit that you need to break. So talk a little bit about that, and then the particular unhabit that you have for your chapter.
Yeah. So the idea of the unhabit actually came from Linda Sunshine West when we were doing One Habit for Women Action Takers. She says, you know what? I want each person to give us a habit, but also a habit to get rid of. Good habit, bad habit. And I just thought that was genius. So we put that was the second book, and that's when they came in. And so my unhabit, by the way, is to stop listening to well-meaning friends. And where that came from, for 10 years, I was an on-camera interviewer with all the movie studios. I was living in Orlando, Florida, and every Friday they would fly me to either New York or Los Angeles. I'd watch a blockbuster movie on Friday night, and then Saturday morning I'd interview the cast. Camera on them, camera on me. That's like I did Tom Hanks and Halle Berry together.
Wow, that's exciting.
It was really, first of all, it's so cool. I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't cool because I'm a huge movie fan, and I've interviewed over 1,000 actors now that are the biggest actors on the planet, and I'm such a fan. So it was a big thing. So I'm interviewing. There's a movie called Beautiful Noise with Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah, and so I'm sitting with them. And by the way, in my interviews, I never would say to these people, Tell me about your character. Tell me about the movie, because there's a trailer for that. I got the opportunity to sit with these hugely successful people, because in life in general, to be successful in Hollywood, you gotta be successful in life.
Yeah.
And so I always get something out of them. So I said to Queen Latifah and Dolly Parton, I said, you know what? Here I am sitting with two of the most successful women, not just in Hollywood, but in the world of business in general. So if I had the opportunity, or my kids had the opportunity to sit across from you, my two daughters, what would you say to them is the biggest thing that you found that added success to your life? What was the thing that you did consistently that changed your life and put you in the right direction? And Queen Latifah's answer was really interesting to me, and it kind of resonated too. You know, she said, you know, when I was growing up, I had all these people around me going like, oh, you want to do what? You want to be a rapper? You want to be an actress? You know, come on, you're not going to do that. You know, just forget about it. Come hang out with us, you know, and be in our misery circles. You know, she didn't say it that way, but listening, God, we become such zombies in life, right? And we got the people around us, and we never break out. It's like when crab fishermen,
Right.
they throw the crabs in the bucket and they put a lid on it, because if a crab tries to get out, all the other crabs pull them back down, right? And so Queen Latifah, what she said to me just resonated so vibrantly and so strong in my heart that I realized I had to reevaluate the people around me and really pay attention to not only what they were saying with me, but also what they were doing. And that was a golden piece of just inspiration to me. And it really made a difference in my life when I started instilling that and reevaluating who I hung out with, people I talked to. Do I allow the air around me become polluted with negativity, right? And I think that's a habit that every single person out there it would service them well. And it's a hard one though for some people.
That is true. It reminds me of that. I don't remember who said it. I think Jim Rohn, right? You are the total of the sum total of the average of the 5 people you hang around the most.
Yes.
And so if you've got people in your world that are not uplifting you, you know.
I want to share one more thing with you that I think is pretty interesting. When this really took traction, the idea of the One Habit, the first book in July of last year, I was at Greg Reed's Secret Knock. This was about 3 years ago, and I always had this idea of habits in the back of my head, right? And I had some free time. I was helping him film some of the events, and I said, you know, let's take the camera, let's ask people about habits. So I walked up to each person with the camera and I said, if you could instantly instill in a child one habit, what would it be and why? And I got an answer that was pretty good. And then Frank Shankowitz gives me an answer that was pretty good. Then Eric Swanson gives me an answer that's pretty good. And David Corbin gives me an answer that was pretty good. And then Ron Klein, the guy that invented the magnetic strip on the back of your credit card, he gives me an answer. And so I noticed 2 things. I noticed that not only do they absolutely know, this was really exciting, they absolutely 100% immediately knew what the habit was, and they were hugely passionate about it.
Wow.
That blew me away, because I would have thought they would have taken a moment, but they knew. They actually knew. And that also taught me something else, that we need to know what habits serve us the best.
Right.
And whether they're part of us yet, or you're on the journey towards them, we need to know. And by the way, they all have huge passion. They can grow rich, you know. You have to have this burning desire.
Absolutely.
To make that habit part of yours, to part of who you are. And I think that these books that we're all doing together, if people just take one habit out of there and they become hugely passionate about it, or an unhabit, and they become passionate about that and make these changes, I think their lives can change forever. It used to be that you had to listen to an 8-hour audio cassette program. I remember talking to Mark Victor Hansen years ago. We were friends when I was doing a fax marketing company, selling audio programs for Nightingale Conan through fax machines to car dealers. And Mark was a friend of mine at the time. Great, wonderful guy. And we were talking about the fact when Chicken Soup for the Soul first came out, how people no longer wanted to spend 8 to 10 hours to try to get a message and learn something. They wanted a light bite that was impactful. And these habits are that. These are absolutely that.
They are. They are. And I'm so excited to be a part of this with you and this journey and doing this 30 days of habits. So thank you for joining me. And if you don't have your copy of the book yet, you can get it on Amazon. They're going to be available other places besides Amazon, right, Steve?
39,000 locations around the world between bricks and mortar, online. You can go to onehabit.com as well. You can find hardback, ebooks, paperback.
And audio's coming too, right?
Any day now, yeah. I just talked to our producer a couple days ago. He said he thinks we're almost there. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Exciting. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and everyone get your copy of the book and get a habit today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was great hanging out with you.
Thank you. Bye.